Babo, Sawan Babo. Babo, no Babo.
This is how you.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, depending on where you're listening to us from. This is Biafra Radio, and you are on the program called Voice of the Coast. I am your host. My name is Kimiowei, Tari, Nemi. We must continue. We are live. We are live on different platforms. We are live on Biafra Radio. We are live on Biafra Radio page on Facebook. We are live on Biafra Radio on Twitter and YouTube. We are live on Alpha Power Media. We are live on UK, IPOB UK Media on Facebook. So you can, and we are also live on Biafra Radio app. If you have not downloaded the app, please do so. Download the app now and listen from the app. We must continue. We must pray. Elohim, Abba Father in heaven, we worship you. There is no one else like you. We thank you for all that you're doing. We thank you for your wisdom. We thank you for all that you're doing in our lives. For you will not abandon your own. We pray, oh Lord, that you continue to keep us. Keep our minds away from evil. Keep our minds away from the distractions of men. Keep us focused in all that you do, in all that we do. Let our hands be clean. Let our hearts be pure. Help us to remain steadfast on this course that you have called us to. Let your spirit guide us. Let your spirit guide us in the morning. Let your spirit guide us in the noontime. Let our spirit guide us at night, even when we go to bed and when we wake up. We pray for our leader, Mazi and the Kano, that you continue to guide and protect him, irrespective of all the enemy tries to do to him. Keep him safe and sound in mind and in spirit. And fast forward his release, that he shall be with us again and continue the good work that you have called him. We pray that all sons of deception and destruction on the land of Biafra be destroyed. We pray that each one that goes about telling lies about people and misrepresenting, Lord, we pray that you separate the chaff from the sheep. That at the end of the day, no one will be confused and the truth will be separated from the lie. All this we pray in the name of Tamara, Ayiba, Chukwuka Abiyama, Abasi, Elohim. You see? We must continue today. We are talking about a topic I titled Stop Persecuting the Truth. Stop persecuting the truth. The truth is the truth. No matter how much you try to persecute the truth, you cannot kill the truth. You cannot quiet the truth. You may try to suppress the truth. But when the time of truth have come, there is no way that you can suppress the truth. You may try for a while. You may try for a season. But the truth will continue to be the truth. No matter how many lies that are told, the lies will never take the place of the truth. And when the time is ripe, the truth will take a place. When the time is ripe, the truth will occupy her position. The question is, what is persecution? Persecution is the hostility or ill treatment, especially on the basis of ethnicity, religion, or sexual orientation, or political beliefs. When ill treatment or hostility is directed towards a person or a people, that is persecution. So when we're saying that some people are persecuting the truth, because when some people separate themselves to stand for what they believe, then if what they believe is the truth, and they are being chased all around, chased all over the world, chased from every nook and cranny, it means that that person or those people chasing them are chasing the truth, are persecuting the truth. And in our case, our truth is that political freedom is a free will. It's a free will of the people that is expressed through the general expression of all the people, or majority of the people. We have rights to choose the kind of politics that should be run on our land. We have rights to choose the kind of government. We have rights to choose our identity. And our rights is our truth. Our truth is not subject to somebody somewhere outside of our land that wants to detect what goes on our land, or who decides what on our land. Our truth is what we accept as our truth. Our truth is our culture. Our truth is our own reality. Our truth is our way of life. Our truth is what we accept. Not what you accept for us, but what we accept for us. And we have chosen to choose for ourselves from henceforth. And our reality must be our own truth. We have lived the reality of others for too long. And we have chosen to live our own reality. Our reality is our truth. And our reality is that the zoo called Nigeria does not exist in Biafra land. We do not recognize her, and we will never recognize her. Biafra land is ours, and it shall continue to be ours. Our truth is that our own culture will prevail on our land. Our truth is that our expression, we must be free. Our people must be free to express themselves in our own reality. You must understand that the world is diverse and there are different peoples all over the world. The beauty of the world is the diversity of the world. And the world is old and ancient. So there are different people in different continents, in different spaces all over the world. Of course, the Creator designed it that way. Or nature made it that way. But when a people from somewhere else decide to travel beyond their own space and go to the space of others and begin to dictate for them in relation to the truth that is real in her own space, and begin to insist that that is what must hold, it becomes a crime. When you leave your space to go to other people's spaces, what obtains is that you respect them in their own space. If you do not respect them, if you want to impose on them, then you're a criminal. And you're fighting against nature. You're fighting against nature. And you cannot fight against nature and you cannot win. Except the people allow you. For many years, we have allowed them. We have allowed the invaders from across the ocean. They came to our lands, subtly penetrated our people, brought in their own cultures, brought in their own ways of life, brought in their own ideologies. And with time, they took over our land and what is beneath our land. And they took over our minds as well. But thank God for Mazi and Kano. We have regained our minds. No longer shall the enemy have control over our minds. It doesn't matter how much you try to master the game of playing on the minds of people. You can never, ever, ever succeed anymore in capturing our minds back. We have taken back our minds. Our minds belong to us. Our minds are our own. No matter how much you try to play the game, you will never succeed. You have failed in that game. And because our minds belong to us now, we can now choose for ourselves. And we can choose for our land. You cannot change the people. You can only suppress who they are. And when the time is right, the reality of who they are will come back to the surface. And that is what we are facing right now. The West will allow everybody to have freedom of speech in their own land. They allow the law to take its course on their own land. But they will put puppets in Africa. They will put puppets in the zoo to make sure the same thing do not uphold on our land. They allow referendum in Europe referendum in the Americas, referendum in the lands where the white men occupy, in the lands where the white men dominate. But they will never allow referendum in Africa, except after a long war, a long bloody war, like we had in the case of Sudan and South Sudan. And after the long bloody war, they will still come in and give their own conditions to make sure whatever you create will still be under their control like the rest of Africa. That is why when the white man didn't have control over Ethiopia, they made sure they still came behind. Britain still came behind. After capturing the rest of Africa, they still came behind to capture Ethiopia. Even after the era of colonialism, they still captured Ethiopia and subjected Ethiopia to what the rest of Africa have been subjected to. You know, what you call ECOWAS today is actually under the control of the West, because all they need to control ECOWAS is just to make sure that the people that call themselves president, or the people that the constituent countries within West Africa call presidents, are all their puppets, or at least 80% of them are their puppets. And if they can achieve that, then the leader of the ECOWAS also should be their puppets. And if you were not their puppets before, all they just need to do is to get you corrupt. Because you must understand that all this democracy that is being practiced in Africa are actually managed by the West. You may not know, but the West are more in Uganda than Africa is in Uganda. USA, Britain, France, and the rest of them, they have more influence in constituent countries in Africa than the African Union have influence in those countries. African Union, or Africa as it is, as a body, have no influence over the countries. And that is why Africa can do nothing for Africa. But the European Union have influence over the whole of Europe. They are trying to extend their influence to Russia, which is causing what we are seeing now as a war. But Africa have no influence in Africa. When I say Africa have no influence in Africa, I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about Africa as a union, Africa as a people, as one block. There is nothing like that. Africans do not do business together. Africans do not do business amongst Africans. Africans do business with the Chinese, with the Russians, with the Americans, with the Europeans. They do business with every other person apart from Africa. Why can't Africans do business with Africans? Because what you have as countries were designed by the West, were designed by the colonialists. And their designs still remain, except with very few adjustments, like the South Sudan I just mentioned, and some of those other territories that were cut out of Ethiopia, and maybe one or two other places, if at all. Biafra was never their creation. And that is why they have been trying their best to make sure that Biafra never come to reality. Because Biafra is the creation of the people. Biafra is the creation of God, of course. But establishing Biafra back to its former glory and its former space is the creation of the people, is the idea of the people. And it's our own idea that must stand. It's not the idea of some foreigners. It's our own idea. It is what we choose for ourselves. It's what we choose for our land. That is why no matter how many people you kidnap, no matter how many people you try to suppress, no matter how much you try to blackmail, no matter how much you try to suppress our voices, no matter how much you try, you can never keep us down. No matter how much you fight, you can never keep us down. Because the people have arisen. And we have chosen not to take no for an answer. We have chosen not to take no for an answer. And we have chosen never to stop. You know, the only thing that can make the oppressor win against the oppressed, when the oppressed have woken up to the reality of what is going on with him, and the oppressed have started demanding for his rights or for her rights, the only thing that will make the oppressor to win is when the oppressed get tired. When the oppressed get tired, that is when the oppressor can win. If the oppressed does refuse to get tired, the oppressor can never win. You know, during the time of slavery, I want to explain why death is not the oppressed winning. The oppressed do not win in death. I mean, the oppressor does not win. When the oppressor kills the oppressed, he has not won. He didn't win. He didn't win. The fact is that you had the power already. Before the oppressed started to demand for his or her rights. In fact, for you to even keep the oppressed under you as an oppressor is because you had the power to kill. It is because of the fear of death that makes people to bow to oppression. So because the oppressed have the power to kill, and the oppressed have been using this power to intimidate, to cast fear in the hearts of people. The oppressor casts fear in the hearts of the oppressed. The day the oppressed stand up and say, no, this will no longer continue, it means that that man have chosen one thing, either to die or to have his or her freedom. So, if you kill the man, you didn't win. It means that the oppression just stopped. You didn't win. If you free him, you still didn't win. So, when you keep, so that is why the oppressor always knows this. the oppressor, when the oppressor is after you, the oppressor is not after you. The oppressor is not after you just to kill. The oppressor might kill a few, but the whole idea is not to kill. The whole idea is to stop the revolution. The whole idea is to stop you from talking. The whole idea is to restrict your strength of advocacy. The whole idea is to stop you from demanding for what is right, for what is yours. The whole idea is to make sure that you come back to your former state and accept oppression. That is the purpose why the oppressed will continue to persecute you. When you rise up and say enough is enough, whatever the oppressor does to you, whatever the oppressor does to you is to make sure that you go back to your former position and accept defeat. And that is why our leader Mazi said, we will never stop, whether in the face of death, we will never stop. Kanu said that it is Biafra or death. Doesn't matter how many you kill. Doesn't matter how many you kill, we will never stop. We will never draw back. We will never look back. We will never look the sideways. We will continue pushing forward. We will keep our gaze straight and continue pushing forward. We're not of them that draw back. We're not of them that slack. We'll continue pushing because we have chosen something greater than life, and that is freedom. Freedom for our people today, tomorrow, and generations to come. You might have gotten hold of our leader. It doesn't mean that we will stop. It doesn't mean that we will slow down. It doesn't mean that we will slack behind. You might have gotten hold of the minds of some weak people. Bribe them and deceive them. And try to use them to stop others. But we will not stop. We will not drop back. What we came out for from the very beginning, what we demanded from the very beginning, is what we are still asking for today, and it is what we are going to continue to ask for, to demand for, until you give it to us. And that is the referendum for Biafra. And if you refuse, we will take it by ourselves. Yes, we will. It is the right of the people to choose the kind of politics that is run in their land. It is the right of the people to choose who governs them. What system of government that runs them? It is the right of the people. It's not the right of some other person outside that all he wants is to take what belongs to the people, is to take what is under the ground of the people. It's not their right. It is the right of our people. And that is why you might call what happened in Niger a coup, but I call it a revolution. It doesn't matter how that revolution, the kind of shape that revolution takes in Africa. The revolution is sweeping all over Africa. The revolution is sweeping. You might call it a coup. That is your choice. But it's not a coup. You know, my mindset about setting coups or certain events that takes place in the world changed long time ago when I was much younger. When I got hold of a certain book called Timelines of World History. And this book dates back to like 13,000 years ago of man's existence. The records in that book, events that took place in the world. If you can look for the book. Very, very interesting. I think it stops around maybe 1990 something or so about the events. And when it got to 1966, when it got to Nigeria, 1966, the record in that book did not say a coup. Did not say that there was coup in Nigeria. What was plotted by those young officers, which Britain blackmailed and said that it was an Igbo coup. And that is why we cannot accept Nigeria. So what the record in that book, and the record was very sincere. The record said that it was a revolution. It called it Revolution in Nigeria, 1966. Revolution in Nigeria. That is the Kaduna Nzogu coup in 1966. It was called a revolution. It wasn't a coup. Do you know why Britain came in and blackmailed the Igbo? Britain came in and blackmailed the Igbo and called it an Igbo coup because that coup, just as you have in Niger now, where the people are celebrating, the people all over the zoo called Nigeria celebrated that coup as a revolution. I was not born then, but my dad was born then. And not just my dad, I've heard from other people as well, how people celebrated it in the South. The people that were known to be corrupt, just as we know some people today to be corrupt in the polity of the zoo. Those are the people that were targeted. The people popularly known to be corrupt people, they were targeted and eliminated. It was recorded there in timelines of world history as a revolution, not a coup. Why did they call it a revolution? Why didn't they call it a coup? A revolution is when the system of government is changed by the people or in support of the people. And that is why this movement for the restoration of Biafra is a revolution. Because it is the mindset of the people. It might have started from one person, but it is the mindset of the people. It is the will of the people. When the people say enough is enough concerning a particular system of government running them, and they begin to choose another. And if they succeed to topple it, that is a revolution. The oppressors don't like revolution. But some of them, many of them had revolutions in their countries before they are what they are today. But they don't like revolution. They are free, but they don't want others to be free. Because they want to be running other people's lives. But that is coming to an end. You know, the other time Buhari decided, I say Buhari Tinubu, I always call him Buhari because they are not different. Tinubu sent requests to the Zoo National Assembly and say that they should allow the army to go and fight. And senators from the north, most especially, they said no, we're not going to allow this, because they are looking at it that the war with Niger is going to be hotter on their side. I knew that it's not going to end there, because the West, France, USA, Britain, they will not sit by and watch that war do not take place. They want to put an end to the revolution. And why do you think France have refused to remove their army from Niger? Because ECOWAS will just be an excuse. They will say that they are supporting ECOWAS. They are the ones that actually want to fight. They want to fight against the army of Niger. They are the ones. Forget ECOWAS. ECOWAS is just the face, just as they are using Ukraine as a face to fight Russia. ECOWAS is the face that they want to use to suppress revolution in Africa. So they are not going to stop. I've always known. Now we are hearing that ECOWAS want to activate the invasion of Ukraine. They want to bring back the former leader that was corrupt. You see, ECOWAS doesn't care whether a leader was corrupt or not, because all of them are corrupt. ECOWAS doesn't care. They don't care. They don't care who stays there. They don't care what he does. They don't care what he does to his people. They don't care whether his people have a good life as human beings, because they on their own, they have good life. Their children go to school in Europe, where things have been made good for the citizens and the people that live there. They send their own children there. They don't send their children to school in Africa here. No, they send their children out of Africa to go and school in Europe and the Americas and Australia and maybe some places in Asia, if at all. But no, never in Africa. They wouldn't take that. Their children should not school here in Africa. So they don't care what anybody does. You know, if these leaders are putting their countries well, making everything go well, that people have jobs, people have good life, they are working so hard to achieve that. And they don't have an alternative like Europe and Americas for their children to go to, for their children to go and study. They will be interested in what happens within the countries of their neighbors. Because if their children choose not to study within their country, their children can choose to go and live at the neighboring country. But if the neighboring country is not good, how is that going to be? So they will be interested. They'll be interested for the leadership there to be working. But no, it's not their business. They don't care. They don't care if they are going to that country at all. They are going from airports to airports. Then they will be driven straight to the government house where everything is fine, is well prepared, properly built, like Europe and America. They don't go to the suburbs. It is not their business. They don't care about the life that people live in Africa. It's not their business. So who stays in power, what he does, is not their business. But when there is a revolution to kick them out, they can wake up and say no. When Buhari rigged the election for Tinubu, what did ECOWAS say? When Tinubu came into power, what did ECOWAS say? When Buhari went to East Africa, Kenya, and kidnapped Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, what did ECOWAS say? When Buhari refused to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, even after the court have said release him, what did ECOWAS say? What did the AU say? The African Union. What did the European Union say? What did the United States say? What did Britain, of whom Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a citizen, what did they say? They said nothing. In fact, Britain is even trying their best to see how much they can deny Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. If it were possible, they would have denied him his citizenship. A British citizen kidnapped from Kenya to Nigeria for 2 years and nothing has been done. But immediately the Niger people chose to stand for their rights and kick evil system of government out of power. All of them rose up. Look at Niger. Niger have appointed somebody that will manage the economy of Niger. And the people are celebrating every day. And they are the ones that want to champion human rights. They want to champion this one and democracy. What is democracy without the people? You claim democracy, democracy. What is democracy without the people? The people are saying that they don't want this particular government anymore. And the army helped them to do that. And they celebrated the army. What else do you need? What else is democracy? Oh, democracy is government of election by electioneers and for those that have power to control election or to manipulate elections. That's exactly what democracy is in Africa. Democracy is government of election. So if you have the power to manipulate elections, then you are the legitimate ruler of the place. The opinion of the people does not count. That is democracy in Africa. That is the democracy that the West imposed on Africa. But that's not the democracy they operate in their own countries. That's not the kind of democracy they operate in their countries. But in Africa, the democracy have nothing to do with the people. The only place, the only role the people play in democracy in Africa is to vote. That is the only role. That is why we in this Biafra movement, we do not believe in votes or no votes, voting. The only votes that we accept is the vote of a referendum for Biafra. That is the only vote we recognize. Anything that has to do with votes in the zoo called Nigeria, we have no business. We have no business with that. That is the only vote we recognize. Vote for the restoration of Biafra. That is the only vote that we recognize on our land. I will be bringing somebody here to join me on the studio. I'll be bringing somebody to join me on the studio. Okay? So that is the only vote that we recognize on our land. We do not recognize all these things that were created by strangers that we did not know and managed by strangers that we do not know. Hello. Hello. Are you there? Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear. Good afternoon from here, Pastor Jack. You are welcome to Biafra Radio on Voice of the Coast on Biafra Radio.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, the African Rep. Good afternoon, Biafrans all over the world. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are listening from. This is your brother, Pastor Jack. You know, we are here and we are not going anywhere, and we must continue on the struggle and to make sure that our fatherland is actually restored. I bring you greetings once again, wherever you are. So I just want to contribute, like our brother have just said, talking about the truth. Now, it is important that we continue to dwell in the truth. There's nothing you can do against the truth, but for the truth. There is no need of anybody, be it the international community, be it the zoo and their allies, to continue to face us, to continue to hand us, to continue to intimidate us, to continue to kill our people, to continue to engage in an arbitrary arrest and detention, because it's not going to stop anything. But the zoo should do one thing. They should admit the truth, because the Bible said, you can do nothing against the truth but the truth. So it is important that we dwell on the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is that the Biafran people have asked for a self-determination where they can live and determine how their life should be manned and governed. So killing our people, keeping our leader in solitary confinement for as many years as he can, will not stop us from saying the truth. So rather you run away from the truth, it is pertinent that you come clean, engage Biafrans, and allow us to have our freedom. And that does not stop you. Biafran, if you are genuine in your business transaction, that does not stop you from benefiting from Biafran. If there's anything you want to benefit from us, as long as you are going to pay for every services we are going to render unto you, for every.
Hello. Hello.
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, just hold on, stay on the line. It seems there is a little. Can you? Okay. Continue. Let me.
Okay.
Okay, continue. Yeah.
So as I was saying, that you can definitely do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. So the Nigerian people, in conjunction with their Western ally, continuation of killing people in our land, arbitrary arrest, harming people, intimidating people, massacring people, detaining and arresting our people who seek freedom arbitrarily is not going to stop us from agitating. It's not going to stop us from asking for freedom of our people. Like I said earlier, rather, they should come clean and negotiate with Biafra, that Biafra may have their freedom. Because it doesn't matter how long it's going to take. Something is very vital. No matter how you try to run away from the truth will continue to haunt you. The truth will continue to confront you. So it is pertinent and important. You deal with the truth. You deal with the issue that is making you complacent in all this whole thing by coming straight, by coming forward to ask the people who seek this freedom, can you come forward and discuss with us about your freedom and let us allow you to exist the same way they are enjoying their own freedom. That is how the people of Biafra also want to enjoy their own freedom. So they should stop the intimidation. They should stop the wanton killing. They should stop the abduction. They should stop the arbitrary arrest. Because it doesn't matter how many numbers of people they are going to arrest. It doesn't matter how many numbers of people they are going to kill. It doesn't matter how many number of people they are going to intimidate. But one thing is certain. The agitation, the call for sovereign nation of Biafra, we continue to resurrect. So the only way to solve this whole issue is to engage Biafran people so that they will have their freedom, so that everybody will have their own. Like I said earlier, Biafra will make its mineral resources available to everybody that is interested to do a genuine business, not who wants to extort or who wants to steal or illegally exploit the people of their mineral resources. As long as you are genuine, you want to do your business genuinely, of course, everyone should make the mineral resources available to you. Like our leader said earlier, if you want us to pipe our oil from here to Europe, as long as we are going to pay compensation commensurate to that oil, we are going to get it. But you lumping us in this contraction where nothing is working, where we cannot exist. It's just like you bringing oil and water together, that they will coexist. It will not work. They will go their separate way. As a result of this, it is very, very important that we realize that no matter how long the truth stays, it must suffice. No matter how long you try to suppress the truth, it must suffice. So it is very, very pertinent that we continue to proclaim, we continue to preach this gospel of Chukwu Kikabiama, that they should give us freedom. Because without freedom, there is nothing they can do to please us. We want to decide and determine how we should be governed. We want to have a say how our future should be directed by those who are leading us, not by individual who is superimposed by the foreign power or who was single-handedly selected to rule over the affairs of millions of people. That is buying our destiny, our future. No, we want to contribute to how our future will be shaping in our own country. This is one of the essence. We are in a place where you cannot coexist with other people. Any little thing, if something happened in the Western country that has to do with Muslim, they will come and kill Southerners or Easterners, they kill Biafrans. Something that has nothing to do with Nigeria, the Fulani people will rise and kill our people. Any little thing, they will want our properties. Any little thing, they will kill our people. Now, the newly appointed chief of army staff, instead of him to be talking about how to deal with issue of terrorists in the north, he is busy talking about how he will kill people in the east. That is his concern, because they are designed and they are brought forward to kill our people, to catch Biafra, to make sure we remain in this new colonialist era. We continue to be enslaved through their prosy Western power. So it is important that they should understand that we will continue to fight until we get our freedom. We do not hate anybody. We like everybody, but we want to resist as a people. We want to decide how we should be ruled. We want to survive, just like other race of the people want to survive. But anything contrary to this, we are not going to waste our heart. So it doesn't matter the challenges that we may face or we foresaw in the process of this restoration process. But one thing is certain: as many as are called, as many as are led by the Spirit of God, the Bible says they are the children of Chukwu Kikabiama. So the 100 people that have been prophesied that will bring about the restoration of Biafra. As long as heaven tarries and earth remains, they will continue to work until Biafra is restored in our time. It doesn't matter how long it's going to take, but it's a word of reassurance. So it's better for everybody to grant our people the freedom we seek, so that everybody will live peacefully, do their business peacefully. I think at this juncture, I will just want to anchor it here, and I will allow other contributors who may be willing to come on board also to lay their voice here. Thank you very much, the African Rep. God bless you. God bless our leader, Mazi Mandikano. God bless IPOB, and God bless Biafra entirely. Biafra shall be restored in our own time. Thank you very much, and God bless
you. You see, God bless you. We must continue. You know, sometimes some people might be wondering, why do we always talk about what is happening in Niger and how does it affect us? You have to understand that what is happening in Niger affects us directly, in the sense that what Niger are facing, probably maybe they didn't, prior to this time, they did not see the need, or they don't even understand what we are fighting for. But we understand what they are fighting for, and what they are fighting for is the same thing that we are fighting for, which is freedom. All these African countries that have been under the rule of France for all these years, France have subdued them for too long. France has subdued them for too long, and they need freedom. They need a breath of fresh air. And that's exactly what Britain is doing to us, even though Britain pretends as if they are not doing that, but that's what they are doing to us. Suppressing us, subduing us. And they make sure, why they subdue us that way, they make sure that the media doesn't carry it. Nothing. Even if the media tries to carry it, nothing will be done. Nothing will be done. They will say that Nigeria is a sovereign country. Is Niger not a sovereign country? Why do you people want to invade Niger? Niger, is it not a sovereign country? Why do you want to invade Niger? You want to say, no, we are not going to permit coup. How is it your business? How is it your business? What happens in another man's land? How is it your business? You're not going to permit coup in Niger. But you permitted fraudulent election in Nigeria. You permitted fraudulent election. And as somebody said wisely, that Tinubu knows that when a country is at war, the constitution will be put on hold. So based on all the court cases that are going on and all that, Tinubu wants to make sure that he goes to war, because he has the power now. So he wants to make sure he goes to war so that he will put that constitution on hold. So whatever you're doing in court is not gonna get hold of him. The West, they want to shift the war, or they want to expand the war from Russia, Ukraine to West Africa. That's exactly what they want to do now. They want to expand the war. They want to expand it to West Africa. They want to stretch it. It's the same war. The same war that is going on in Russia and Ukraine. They want to extend it to Africa. They want Africa to be the next place where they are going to battle. And you know, Ukraine is Europe. So because Ukraine is Europe, it's difficult for them to use certain kind of weapons, because they are going to kill their fellow Europeans. And if there's a way they are going to do that war, the war is going to hit them in their own countries. So they want to extend it to Africa, where they don't care about the lives of people. where they don't care about the lives of people, so that they can test all the weapons that they want to test and bring West Africa to the ground. They don't care. They want to come and fight it real hard. And what you should understand about war is that when it starts, you don't know when it will end. But one thing I'm sure is that whatever they are doing, whether they go to war, whether they don't go to war, it will bring about the restoration of Biafra. It will bring about the restoration of Biafra. Whether they like it or not, it will bring about the restoration of Biafra. No matter what they do. No matter what they do. If they like, they go to war with this situation that they have entered will only result in the restoration of Biafra. It will only result in the restoration of Biafra. If they go to war, it will result in the restoration of Biafra. If they refuse to go to war, it will result in the restoration of Biafra. In fact, if they go to war with Niger, it will even result in the restoration of Biafra even faster. Because as they are looking at it, they want to go to war in Niger, and the war is not going to be easy on them. The people of Niger and their army and their government, they are ready. They are ready for war. They are ready for anything. They are ready for war. And all those Igbo people in Niger that were agitating that they do not want war. What you should understand is that whether you want it or not, that war, the West wants that war. And that is why you see ECOWAS talking about the war, saying that they want to, they must bring back that other power back, the president back. The West wants that war. You should understand that the West wants that war. So your protest will do nothing. Best for you, leave that country, leave that place entirely. If you can return to the zoo, you should return to Biafra land, or you relocate. Or if you cannot relocate, find a way and join the army of Niger, protect their land for them. Because the war will come there, and I know Africans, they don't know the difference. They don't know the difference between within Nigeria and Biafrans. I doubt if they do. They may know because Niger, they are very close to the north. They might know that, okay, these ones, they don't speak or understand Hausa. But I don't know how their reaction will be, whether they are going to turn against you, because Africans are very wonderful. But if you can, join them and fight against Nigeria from there. Yes. Fight against ECOWAS. Protect their land. You are living with them. If you can, protect their land when the time comes. Instead of just staying there just like that, and at a particular time, they will now begin to feel like it is your people that are killing them, because they might begin to feel like you are Nigerian. Meanwhile, you're not. Most of the people that did that protest are Biafrans. Most of them are Igbo people. But if you cannot, you leave that country. And leave all those other countries that have openly declared to battle ECOWAS. And go to somewhere that is a little bit more peaceful, at least for now. Because I'm very, very sure this war might consume almost the whole of Africa. It might start in West Africa, it might get to the north of Africa. Because at a particular time, countries will begin to choose. some countries will begin to choose sides. And many African countries will stand with Niger. Many will stand with Niger. So some countries might begin to choose sides. So this is not going to be funny, but it should continue. But even if they don't, the revolution has started already. Because all ECOWAS is trying to do is to put an end to the revolution. But they cannot. Because they cannot win the war. And if they do nothing, the revolution continues. The revolution will creep into many other countries. I'm not a supporter of coup. I don't like coup. But I like revolution. I don't like coups. I don't like military men ruling over the government, because all military men know is war. That's what they are trained to. They don't know how to deal with civilians on the average, most of the times. But when it is a revolution, it is a revolution. When it is a revolution, it is a revolution. I do not believe that military men should be involved in civilian activities and be running a state. I don't believe that. But in the case where it is a revolution, where that is what the people want, why try to stop it? And what Niger have done is the best thing. Is the best. They have appointed a prime minister that will be watched. The revolutionaries are watching him. They know that they are warriors. They are soldiers. They are military men. They are not trained in the art of developing a nation's economy and all of that. So they had to bring in somebody with that training and experience. That is a very, very good step by the revolutionaries in Niger. Yet, ECOWAS want to invade them. Yet, they want to say that they are not the legitimate government. Yet, they want to pull them out of power and bring back those that destroyed their land. But no matter what anybody say, no matter what I say here, no matter what anybody say on social media, or you go to the street, you protest, ECOWAS will go for that war. Why? It's very simple. Number one, the West wants that war to take place. France, most especially, USA, secondly, Britain, they all want that war to take place. EU, they have already made statements in support of the invasion of Niger. They are complaining that Russia invaded Ukraine, but they want ECOWAS to invade Niger on the excuse that the people in power there are illegitimate. On the excuse that they are illegitimate. They want to invade Ukraine. Is it not the same? They want to invade Niger. Is it not the same invasion? Double standards. Double standards all over the world. And it is because of these double standards that is making the West to crumble. Because when you have power and you think that you have power, you are all powerful and nothing can happen, no matter what happens, nothing will happen. So you can choose to do whatever you want to do. A time will come when Elohim will raise another power. At the beginning, when they were threatening Russia and all, Putin told them, he told them that in this war, there will be no winner. If you choose to attack me, I will attack you. Because why? He has what they have. If you choose to attack, I will attack. I know what that means. If it's a country that is strong, like the United States, attacks Russia, Russia is not thinking of attacking them back in the way they are attacking Ukraine. Attacking them in the way that all of them are going to destroy themselves. At least they are both continents will go extinct. Both of them have such military power, such military strength. If they begin to fight themselves, Europe will go extinct. The Americas will go extinct. At least North America will go extinct. I don't know if all those their weapons can go beyond their continent, but at least their continent will go extinct. And the allies of USA are in Europe. The allies are there. The NATO, apart from USA and maybe Canada in North America, the others are in the other members of NATO are in Europe. So, and all those other people, they are just a few kilometers from Russia. And if America begins to become too distant, it will not take Russia anything to close down those countries close to them. So there will be no winner, and that is the truth. There will be no winner in the war. So seeing that the man has gone crazy, they have to retreat and avoid that war because everybody wants to leave. They want to leave because when people begin to throw themselves all those kind of weapons, we're all human beings. If the ordinary people on the street can die, the politicians can also die. So all of them want to leave. They want to be alive. So they rather avoid Russia because they know that Russia will not use certain kind of weapons on Ukraine. So Ukraine can be fighting. And there is no how Ukraine can win Russia. How? Zelensky is just being very foolish, I must say. How do you intend to win the war against Russia? How? You don't have the kind of weapons they have in Russia. How do you intend to win? On the part of Zelensky is a very foolish war. Very, very foolish war. Most especially when the war is not even your own idea. The war is not to protect your interests. It's just like what Nigeria and the rest of ECOWAS are trying to go and do in Niger. How will this war benefit ECOWAS? Of what benefit? See, when people want to go to war, they count the cost. They count the cost, yes. When wise people want to go to war, they count the cost. Of what benefit? What are we going to gain? What are we going to lose? What are we going to gain? What are we going to lose? Zelensky was going into a war. He never calculated how he was going to win. He just felt NATO is powerful, and if I start this war, because of this war, NATO will support me, and I will join NATO. Then I will use the power of NATO to fight Russia. Very, very foolish. But for that of ECOWAS, is even more foolish because the little peace that you're enjoying in West Africa, you turn West Africa into a bloody zone. That is what happens when you vote in. It's not the people voting them in, actually. It's still the West. It's the West that that makes sure that these guys that have no brains in their head are the ones in power. Because you don't go to war that will not benefit you anything. You don't go to war that will not benefit you anything. What will the rest of ECOWAS lose if this Niger government has succeeded? What are they going to lose? What will ECOWAS lose if they welcome them in? You have no choice. It's not a country. You're not. When the other man was doing what he was doing, allowing France to run them down, you said nothing. You did nothing to help. Now the man is kicked out. You want to go and fight for him. You want to go and fight for him. You did nothing to help the ordinary people. People that have come to help them, you want to fight the people that came to help them. Well, it's not going to work. I know they will still go there and fight. I am very, very sure, because I know how the West reason. And these politicians, these criminals occupying positions in West Africa, most especially the one in Nigeria, all they want to do is to protect the interests of the West. That is all they've been doing, even in their respective contraptions that they call country. Is to respect, is to protect the interests of the West, not the interests of the people. The people mean nothing. They have no value for their own citizens, no value even for their own self. Because if you have value for yourself, you have dignity. If you have dignity for yourself and you value yourself, then when you look at your neighbor that looks like you, you will value him. You will dignify him. You know, when you see all these corrupt people in Africa, these corrupt politicians, or these corrupt so-called leaders in Africa, these people are the lowest of the lowest. They have no value for themselves as black people or as Africans. They have no value for themselves. Because I see no reason why I'll be in a position of authority to make the lives of people better. Then all I do is to make my own life better. Then I want to see them down. And when I see them down and they come to bow down to me, then I now feel like I am big. That is failure. That is failure. When people come to recognize you because you lifted them up, because you make their lives better, because you put smile on their face, that is when you are big. If they come to recognize you because if they come to pay you respect because you were in position of authority and you use that position of authority to improve their life and improve the lives of many, that is when you are a big man. That is when you should be respected. Not when you drain them and destroy their life, and they just, because you have the power to kill, you have the power to oppress, you have the power to destroy their businesses, they will just have to respect you or fear you. And that's what most of these people do in Africa. But their reign is coming to an end, and they know it. These guys are partners of the West. They are not partners of the people. They are partners of the West. So, and they control the army and all that. So they want to use all that to continue. All they've been doing within their respective countries, now they have brought it out. Because there are now some other countries in Africa that are demanding for their freedom. Initially, it used to be people within the constituent contraptions that were demanding for freedom. And most especially in Nigeria, the Biafrans have been demanding for freedom. But now, sovereign nations are now demanding for freedom. So they will now want to gang themselves together against those that are demanding for freedom. And that is their end. But the beautiful thing about this is that the revolution have just begun. If they like, let them go to war and pollute everywhere. If they go to war, their defeats will come even faster. Because some of them, why they are busy going to war, some of them coups will be taking place in their countries. And when the coup takes place, all the soldiers will be withdrawn. Just watch what I'm telling you. Because it's not every soldier, all the soldiers, they are seeing what is going on. You think they are happy? Not all of them. Like when they are being used. You want African soldiers to go and kill their fellow African soldiers that did absolutely nothing other than stand for what is right, and you expect all of them to be happy. You think they are happy. But the fact is, whether they like it or not, if they do not go to this war, the revolution will continue. Even without coups or anything, there are some people that are amongst them that will now have the boldness that, oh, if these people were able to, if these revolutionaries were able to take these steps, because don't think that it is all these people all these political leaders of nations that are following and bowing down to these powers that are wicked. There are some of them that in their hearts, they wanted something different, but they cannot because of the pressure of the West, the external pressure. They cannot do it. But these guys in Niger, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, and a few others, they are making a difference. And this thing is giving confidence to others. So, if they do not go and fight Niger, others will be emboldened. So, they have just entered the trap. If they do not go and fight Niger, others will be emboldened. And before you know it, some other countries will begin to, first, they might now begin to pull out of ECOWAS. Oh, we no longer belong to ECOWAS. We are West Africa, but not ECOWAS anymore. After all, Britain pulled out of EU. So why can't nations in West Africa pull out of ECOWAS? Must you be in ECOWAS because you are in West Africa? You must not be in ECOWAS. So some countries can begin to pull out of ECOWAS. This Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, they can pull out of ECOWAS. And they should pull out of ECOWAS. Because there's absolutely nothing that ECOWAS have to offer to them. They should pull out of ECOWAS and have their own alliance. Military and economic alliance. That is what they should do. They should pull out of ECOWAS now. So that others that would want to pull out of ECOWAS can join them, can align with them, and build their strength. Maybe little by little, they can begin to form a new alliance for Africa. A new alliance for African countries. Through alliance. Through that means open their borders to each other, do business amongst themselves, make money for themselves, begin to produce for themselves, This is the step that they should be taking. It's an opportunity. Open the borders. Of course, they are West Africa. All the borders are open. Go beyond West Africa. It's even a good thing that they are at the edges of West Africa. They have boundaries with other African countries beyond West Africa. Open your borders with all those other countries. Let the borders be open. Open your borders to all of them. And do business amongst yourself. You must not be part of ECOWAS. You don't have to be part of ECOWAS. Of what benefit is ECOWAS to the West African states? What benefits? What have they gained? The one thing that would have even been a benefit, even though Nigeria itself is not free, but at least it would have aided business transactions. It would have aided the economy of West Africa, the economy of the West African states, when they wanted to have one money. Who came in between it? France. France stopped it because they wanted Abuja to be the center. No. Most countries in West Africa are French-speaking. Many countries in West Africa are French-speaking. And all French-speaking countries in Africa, all of them use money produced by France alone. And France said that it is good for them. France produced their money, but they are free. They are independent countries. They are sovereign nations. But France produced their money. France choose for them. And if they say otherwise, if the president say otherwise, that president will be assassinated. They've done it to many of them. France, choose for them. Choose for them. But all that have got to stop. The end of the reign of the West in Africa is over. I'm not saying that Russia or China are the best friends, or they are very good friends, or they mean so well. But first of all, the West is the most problem that Africa is facing. You stop that first, and you begin to look within. Anybody that wants to help you, because as it is, the West is the problem of the whole world. It's a problem to Russia, it's a problem to China, it's a problem to India. It's a problem to the Arab world. It's a problem to Africa. They are pillaging everywhere. So we have to stop our collective problem first. They will begin to look within on how to help ourselves for ourselves. Let others help themselves for themselves. After all, they've been helping themselves. So anybody that wants to help us to stop the West from their high-handedness, it's open. They are welcome to stop the West. But the leaders of Africa must look within and look to produce for themselves within. So all these things that is starting from West Africa, all these things that is starting from West Africa, it is all going to bring about the freedom of Biafra. The fire have taken over Africa. The fire started in Biafra land, and right now the fire is boiling all over Africa. There was so many years ago, if not up to 20 or even more years ago, I heard about a particular preacher. I was in a meeting in a particular church about a preacher where some African preachers gathered somewhere. I can't remember where exactly he said it. I think that preacher is, let me not mention his name. So it was in a meeting, a church gathering, where he said it. And though they were talking about the gospel, Christian gospel, and all of that, but now I am beginning to understand the vision that that particular pastor or preacher or whatever he's called saw. That man explained to us that one of the African pastors saw a vision, that the vision that there was a fire that started from somewhere in Nigeria, in the zoo called Nigeria. And it came up and it covered the whole of Africa. But as at then, I was viewing it from the way he was explaining it. But right now, it is clearer. It is obvious. When we started this move, when Mazi started preaching and started cooking the fire in our hearts, and we picked up and started cooking the fire in others, we knew from the very beginning that this would take over the whole of Africa. And right now, it has taken over the whole of Africa. It would have been better for them to have given Biafra freedom long time ago. It would have been better. It would have been better for them. Maybe the relationship would have been different. The taking over or removal of the powers of the West in Africa, maybe it would have come slower. But they are not Elohim, they are not the creator, they are not God, so they cannot see the future. But now, they are going to lose everything. Their grip on Africa, they will lose it in a very short time. The West will lose it all. China did not put us in the position where we are today. Russia did not put us in the position where we are today. India did not put us in the position where we are today. The people that put us in the position where we are Britain and their friends in Europe and their allies in the Americas. And they are the ones that have been running the world. They are the ones that put us in the position where we are. They are the ones that put us in this position. And like our leader said, if you do not allow Biafra to go, you will be destroyed. Their grip on Africa is going. Of course, they have lost their grip of Asia. At least most places in Asia. And as the day goes by, they are losing it even more and more. The friends that they had in Asia, they are also losing. And this now is the turn of Africa. And for that of Africa, it is going to be worse because they did worse to us. They don't see us like people. They don't see us like humans. They treat us less than they treat their dogs and their cats. They treat us far less than they treat their pets. They treat us far less than they treat the animals that they will kill to eat. They treat us the same way when we are in their continent, when we are in their countries. They treat us that same way when we are in our continent, when we are in our countries, when we are in our communities. They treat us exactly the same way and use our own people to treat us even worse. And pretend like they have no influence over it. All this is a game of chess. And now we understand how to play that game. We were confused for many years, not knowing where the problem is coming from, not knowing where the checkmate is coming from. But now we know. And we now understand the game and we are playing it. So we're not begging. Tinubu, we're not begging you. If you like, release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It is for your good. If you like, keep him. It is for your doom. You know, when somebody picks up a spiritual thing, when you pick up a holy thing, that holy things are only, they only do two things. Holy things either bless or curse. When you pick up a holy thing, it is either for your blessing or for your curse. If you treat it with care and respect, it will bless you. If you treat it with disdain, it will be your curse. Tell me, since Buhari started killing Biafrans, attacking our communities, oppressing people, how has the zoo fared? Have they gotten any better? And the answer is no. Tinubu came and we were expecting that he would do something different. He's doing exactly the same. How has the zoo fared? Getting even worse. And it will get much worse until the people will get tired and they will rise and they will kick him out of office. Until they will not be able to use their force to suppress the people anymore. Because hunger is dangerous. When people have become too hungry for too long, they will use their last strength to fight to get food. Their last strength to fight, it is fight for survival. And the zoo can never get better, provided you don't let Biafra go. You'll be shocked that all these years when Fulani people and their allies in the zoo have been running the zoo, they have not been making any headway, the zoo is not making any progress. You will be shocked. Immediately Biafra is allowed to go. I mean the whole of Biafra is allowed to go. You'll be shocked how these people will begin to, they will suddenly have sense to begin to take care of their places, take care of their people. They are under a curse. They can never make headway. They can never make progress, provided they are keeping Biafra down. They can never make headway. No progress for the zoo. Provided they are subduing Biafra and keeping the leader of Biafra against every rule, against justice, they can never make headway. It's not possible. What you have is a holy thing. Biafra is a holy thing. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a holy person, is a holy personality. Now, when I say this, when I say that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is a holy person, some people will think, oh, does it mean that he does not sin? You don't know what holiness is. Holiness doesn't mean that that thing is perfect, or that person is perfect, or that place is perfect. That's not what holiness is. Holiness is consecration. When something or someone is consecrated, is separated for the use of God. When something is separated and dedicated to God for the use for spiritual things, that thing is holy. That person is holy. It doesn't matter whether the person make one mistake or the other. No. When that person is separated for God, for the will of God to be done, if that person is separated or that person follows the voice of God and separates himself, just like Mazi did, left every other thing and separated himself, consecrated himself for the restoration of Biafra, that is what makes him holy. And every one of us that have separated ourselves and consecrated ourselves for the restoration of Biafra, we are holy. Because Biafra is the kingdom of God on earth. The restoration of Biafra is the restoration of the kingdom of God on earth. What we are doing is a divine mission. So anybody that touches us, you're touching a holy thing. We do not follow the instructions of men, we follow the instructions of the Spirit. That is why at the moment you expect us to do this, we do the other. Because we don't follow the dictates of man's wisdom. We follow the dictates of the Spirit. We don't speak because man wants us to speak. We speak because we hear from the Spirit. Because it wasn't man that called us to do this, it was God that called us to do this. It was the Spirit that separated us. So when you see a man separated, he's consecrated for the will of God to be done. That man is holy. When you touch him, you touch God. When you fight him, you fight God. And that is why they will continue to drown. The zoo will continue to drown because they have a holy thing. They have a holy man. What happened to Pharaoh? When Pharaoh took the wife of a righteous man, took the wife of a holy man, took the wife of a priest, not knowing that the man is a priest. The angel came to him in the dream and told him, leave that woman. Why did the angel came to Pharaoh? Probably Pharaoh himself, is that particular Pharaoh himself, he worships God. Because people have always been telling you that it was only Israel that knew God. If it was only Israel that knew God, how did Pharaoh recognize that the person that spoke to him, that the spirit that spoke to him was an angel? How did he know that the spirit that spoke to him was from God? If it was only Israel that knew God. So the angel came to him and told him that return that woman is not his sister, it is his wife. You're holding the wife of a holy man. Because the wife of a holy man is also holy. It's not your property. If Pharaoh didn't do that, if Pharaoh wasn't hearing, he would have been destroyed, not knowing what is destroying him. That is what is happening to the zoo. And that is what is happening to the West. Because they don't hear from God. They don't even recognize God. They don't even recognize nature anymore. They are fighting against nature, fighting against God, fighting against anything. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in the Spirit. They don't believe in anything. So how can they hear? Even when they see the signs, how can they believe? Until they are destroyed to the ground, they will never realize. And when we talk, they will say we are only blabbing. But we'll keep watching them until they are destroyed and forgotten. Thank you very much for listening. If you want to call, the number is there. The number is there. You can call if you want to call, but we are rounding up. I do not think there's somebody that wants to call into the program. So that is just it. You cannot persecute the truth and win. So the best thing for you to do is to stop the persecution. The truth is that Biafra is not Nigeria. The truth is that the white man created Nigeria. The white man created the borders that we have in Africa. And the white man wants to maintain that. But it is not it's not the right of the white man to maintain the borders of a continent that he doesn't belong to. It's not his right. And that is why the things must change. Things must change. It is our right to determine who governs us on our land and what holds on our land. It's not the right of foreigners. Thank you very much for listening. This is Biafra Radio. My name is Kimiowei Tari Nemi, and this is Voice of the Coast. Thank you, and God bless you.